good afternoon. And if it's Tuesday and it's 2 o'clock, it's time for New Thought Today. Welcome everyone here. My co-host, Reverend Brz, is taking care of some other business, so I'm here today running the show, and we have the Reverend Michael Mangus here sitting in today. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to New Thought Today.
Wow. Yeah, I thought my boss would be here. He crumbles when he says, "Quit calling me your boss." But no. So I'm glad to help out today. Thank you. So
Yeah, good, and it's so glad to have you here. And I think I got we got a good topic for you to dive into today.
okay.
The day, this program, New Thought Today, really looks at all New Thought entities, not just science of mind, but unity and divine science and all, and some of the independents. And we try to look at where are we today in establishing ourselves further and better as an organization or as a thought pattern. And so today we want to look at this idea of how do we infuse the new thought philosophy, the new thought ideology into the community from a community service standpoint. How do
Yes.
we begin to create these places where we not only can give them inspirational information, but we can also give them ways to give back and ways to help others and serve. Because traditionally, our community has not been that good in doing that.
Right. So I one thing, a couple things come to mind. First of all, is when I was interim pastoring over in Pennsylvania, over in Pittsburgh, the
Mm-hmm.
first thing I did was to join the ministerial association in my neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason I did that was because that, first of all, is I wanted to find out what was going on in the community, plus also that we partner together and don't duplicate services. So I think that if you your community do not know how to get into the community, that's a really good way is through the ministerial association or through an interfaith association in your area because they're already doing projects that you can go ahead and do. I knew that in where I was at in Carnegie. One thing I found out they did one of the churches was doing a summer lunch program, and one of the things I found out was that now I thought Carnegie was pretty middle class. I thought that uh, they wouldn't need food assistance, but what I found out was that 70% of the families there
Mm,
were eligible for food assistance. So
mm.
us getting involved, I think, in that way, and I think if you do not know how to get, again, there, just call the church down the street or the church across the street and
Right, right.
find out who your ministerial association is. The other thing too is to partner with again with other non New Thought churches. That if you are, I know that we've done in Akron, we've done shoe drives.
Right.
We've also done backpacks. And what we've done is we've partnered with other uh, communities, again, outside of our own community. I thinking of one bishop in our area who overseas, I mean, churches not only here in the United States, but also over in Africa. He invites me all the time to stuff.
Right,
But
right.
it's because again that I am out there and I really try to get involved with again with the community because again if we're saying that we're all one, which we are,
Mhm.
that that we go out there and we act like it among other people. So
Right.
I think that there are more people out there. So
Well, I think uh, the one thing that you said that had rung true for me, a couple of things, but the two things I'll say that stuck out is one, we have to begin to create, and we being the New Thought community, and not that we're not doing it, but I'm saying we need to do it more, is begin to create alliances for these types of things with other organizations, other individuals, if need be, that are looking to provide service to the community. Because
yes,
there's a lot of questions now, a lot of statements being made about, because membership and attendance, I won't say membership, but which I could, and attendance to centers are down. uh and everyone's trying to figure out how to put spirituality back at the center of the life. Excuse me. And one way is to be involved and give the community an opportunity to see how we're helping or to be helped. So by creating an alliances with others who are in that line of work, if you will,
hmm
do that. Because one thing I do know, there is no competition in God, right? Although there may appear to be by the different communities and everything, like they're competing. There is no compete. You can't compete with God. God is one. So the thing that I see, we have to get together and work together for the glory of God, not for the glory of my center or your center or your organization, but for the glory of God, so that everyone can feel valued and wanted and supported. And so that's the first thing. Then the second thing is, at the end of the day, we have to, I always fall back on Ernest Holmes' statement, we have to treat and move our feet.
yes,
No matter how much planning we do, no matter how much alliancing and talking about this, until we get people involved, very little appears to happen.
right. And I think and also thinking about community involvement, Reverend Z, I think that one of the things that I have said before on my show on Friday nights, the Friday evening fireside chat at 6 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
Mountain, 8 o'clock Eastern here on your New Thought Media Network. One of the things I've said is that we can also be teaching in our communities general programs
Mm-hmm.
that would help the community,
Mm-hmm.
like conflict resolution
Mm-hmm.
in our communities. We can also be teaching um, stress reduction. And again, that those are two major things that we can do. Again, put up flyers. Put messages up on the community on next door, uh, which is a community
Mm-hmm.
type thing on Facebook, not on Facebook, but on the internet. Uh, you would be surprised at the individuals that are out there. And the other thing too is, again, being involved in community service in some way. There's plenty of organizations out there for you to call up and say, "Hi, how can we help?"
Mm-hmm.
And so, and again, see, that's one of the reasons why I think that, again, being involved with other religious leaders in your community of other faiths and denominations are really important. I remember, was it a couple of years back when they had the bombing at the New Zealand mosque,
Mm-hmm.
where they had, again, uh, many casualties. So what happened is that the local synagogue in our area, what they did was they bought flowers, and we of the interfaith community, we gave out flowers to the men and women at Friday prayer
Mm-hmm.
to show again our alliance with our brothers and sisters, that we are all one. So I think again in those areas that to be tapped into, um, again social issues. That's another area in our communities that um, again that it's good. Again, it's good to be finding out this stuff because I see, and again in our area sometimes that I don't know about things unless I have one or two people let me know that there is a march or there is something that's going on.
Right.
So to go out there and to start being being beyond the walls, this I
Yeah.
think, uh, Elzina, it's just that we need to be out there and unashamed, and
Yeah.
that we are out there to share love with the community, not with the uh, expectation that we are going to because of that people are going to come to our centers, but that we are
Exactly.
sharing love, which is most desperately needed within our communities. So go ahead.
And and what I'm hearing you saying is that that centers and different programs, we have to find, I believe, and set up social action committees
Yes.
or social action ministries, however people want to uh, label them, but to set up this idea within the centers of we can do everything in terms of social action as to being present for a community, like you were saying when the synagogue gave out the Bible. We are present and aware of you when you go through a tragedy,
Yes.
all the way up to we will open up a soup kitchen once a month or whatever it might be, and that soup kitchen might not be your thing. You we'll have to find out in our community what's more important, right? And begin to activate and show, as you said, what love is, what real love is. Like we just had our conference last week. I think it was week before last, and the theme was evolutionary love in today, right? So
Yes.
what does that mean? How do we begin to express love today, not just selective love or love for this person and not that person, but love for everyone.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things again that when I was involved again over in Pittsburgh, one of the other things that we did was we got involved in the Pride Parade.
Mm-hmm.
Is our church went ahead and marched in the Pride Parade for the first time, and I was so proud of our people that that we went ahead and we said, we love you, we love you unconditionally. That we do not believe that what you are doing is sinful, that you are expressing your God given right to your sexuality, no matter what the preference. So I would say again that not only the Social Action Committee, but also again, visioning, we use a process in Science of Mind and also another New Thought churches called visioning. We can go ahead and we can, your committee can go ahead and to vision about where they are to again to tap in the community. Now, the one thing that I've gotten, especially in my program, when I've mentioned about being involved in the community, is well, how dare you guys do that? Back in the '90s or the '80s, that New Thought was not involved in that kind of stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
that we went ahead and again that we, you know, our uh, our service to the community is to go ahead and to teach the principles.
Yes.
And I think that kind of statement is extremely short-sighted.
Mm-hmm.
That my spirituality is not just for me. It's that I come to a place in my own spiritual growth where I go out there and I reach out to others, and
Right.
to do that again in a non-judgmental, in a very loving way, that people can see our light out there, and that uh, again, people who go ahead and say that what you need to do is you need to listen and watch our history about, again, some of Emma Kurz Hopkins, uh, Wallace Waddles. They were very much involved in the women's movement and also in the labor movement. So we can,
Mhm.
again, that we come from a civil, we come from a civil rights background, not necessarily from the African American community, but also
Mhm.
from
Mhm.
our aspect, again, of getting out there, getting our hands dirty, and going out there and again showing love to the community. I mean, again, the community projects, um, I can be as simple as finding the people around your neighborhood, the people, seasoned citizens, the senior citizens in your neighborhood, and offering to mow their lawn, or
Yeah.
to, again, some type of service project where you're out there among people where they get to know you.
Yes.
And if listen, your church, let me just say this to all who are watching today. Your center, we're focusing on the wrong things here. Okay. When you go ahead and you say, well, we want our centers to grow, and that's okay. I get that. Set the intention for that. Okay. Get, like what Ernest Holmes taught, get our focus off the problem, put it on the solution here. All right. And then start doing things again that will attract back the people. Now,
Mhm.
I think that that's something, we've, even here in Akron, on our online, we've had, within the past 3 months, we've had visitors. That's the
Mm.
first time we've had visitors in 2 years.
Okay.
So as we set the intention to again, to open our hearts, see, and again, I think that's the key, is
Right.
opening our hearts to the community, being there, and providing other things. So
Well,
I
I think,
have a
I
few more
think,
ideas, so go ahead.
yeah, I think what what should be paramount, um, as centers, and this has happened in African American churches, and centers from day one, is that the ministers have to begin, I believe, and are strongly encouraged. Um, they have to be activists. Now, you can be an activist for childcare. You could be an
Yes.
activist for senior citizens. You can be an activist for various other issues, but we have to be activists, um, involved in the community, because now that everything is online or available online, people can get inspirational and motivational upliftment from just sitting at home.
Right.
So we have to begin to offer something more than just inspirational words, because we're going to begin to be grabbing at straws, I think. And so we have to do that part, and then we must begin, I think, to look at, uh, as the saying goes, what's mine to do. Every
Yes.
community is not geared for certain things, right? And so, like you said, maybe each community can start visioning, okay, well, we can't do this, but we're going to find one thing that we're known for. Excuse
Right.
me, when somebody asks about child care, they're going to say you need to call the center ABC, because they got everything down pat on child
Yes.
care, whether it's at their center, centers that can be found in the neighborhood where you can get reduced pricing, or a certain type of teaching method. But our activism is in child care, or our
Right.
activism is in food availability, because we have to begin, I believe, to be centers or hubs of communication and activity where people can be fed literally and spiritually, and then go out and do that for others. And so that's going to be key as we continue to move forward.
We have a tremendous opportunity here, that, again, in our communities, here, I know in Ohio and also over in Western Pennsylvania, church attendance is about 32%.
Mm.
Now, okay. Now, some people will say, well, we only have so many people at our center. You have enough. You have enough to go out there and again to find a project, find something to do. Now, if you have a building that's available during the week, that's another question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what can we do? Maybe we need to open our building as a warming center during the
Mm-hmm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that we need, and I think that when we start, Reverend Z, when we start making changes in our community, it starts with the leadership. It starts with the leadership talking to the other leadership and saying, this is this is what I feel that Spirit is leading us to do. Let's start doing visioning. We need to share this with other people in the community, within our spiritual community. Not everyone's going to agree with you, especially when you're doing social action out in the community.
Yep.
Well, again, I think that gives them an opportunity again to grow.
Yeah.
That when we go ahead and we say, well, we're going to be involved in the community, that again, with it really change starts from me down. So,
And
or if you want to, if more of a concentric change starts with me in the middle again, with vision, going to my leadership and saying, okay, there's a lot of need. There's a lot of things that we can be assisting with and doing here in our community here. Uh,
mm-hmm.
so what,
Well,
what is ours to do? Go ahead.
and one thing we've started doing at the center, we our young people has set up a meetup group, and so one, it lets people know what we are about. So if they're about that and they're thinking about that, or they have any inclinations about spirituality and action, they can join a meetup group, and then we have these opportunities to get together in a we offer them to come to the center, but in a non uh, in a more relaxed environment at a coffee shop. We can just go and have coffee and talk.
Yes.
And whether we talk about spiritual stuff or not, it gives us an opportunity to create a communal environment, right? So that, and then we can exchange ideas and we can begin to say, oh, most of the people here, they like reading. All right, well, maybe we start a reading program at the elementary school to go in and do some tutoring, maybe. And these are just examples off the top of my head. Each community will have to begin to find what's theirs to do, as well as each individual. But what
Yes.
will be clear is that we will be visible and we will be serving. And so when a person that may not be ready to do something now, when they begin to come available to say, I want to give back myself. I remember that center. I remember that minister. They had some good programs. They provided some help for me or for my friend or for my family. How do I get involved? And
Right.
and because we're doing everything from a universal principle foundation, those ideas, those ways of living will begin to permeate the space, and people will pick up on them. And somebody can say, oh, why do you do this? Here, because of this principle. When did Because of this practice. And we begin to not try to, and not that we do, but we're not trying to force anything on anybody.
No.
God and the religion of God and the spirituality of the universe stands on its own.
Right.
We just need to be clear examples.
And yes, and again, that there's a lot that we can do, especially again, if you have access to your own building or rent a building, your own space during the week. Man, you have opportunities that you would not believe.
Mm-hmm.
Z talked to, Reverend Z, you talked about the whole idea of childcare. I think that there's other, one of the things that I know that we're looking for a space here in Akron, but my intention here again is to provide also a space for the people who are spiritual, not religious, that they do not understand that that individuals grow spiritually when steel hits steel. So, and I think so having an outreach, not evangelization, not proselytizing, but having things at our center that would attract individuals to come. Like, for example, what would happen if you would go ahead and start a yoga and meditation class based upon spiritual principles? Many of many of the yoga and meditation out there is pretty secular, that they do not. Oh, I remember one yoga teacher, I just said, who worked in the schools, I said, it's okay to mention God here. If yoga means union, it really is okay for us to do that. So to find, again, low cost meditation classes, low cost yoga classes, find out, like, for example, if other churches are holding, even vacation Bible school during the week. Now, again, it may not, my bishop friend holds a VBS every summer. So he's always asking for help, for people to go down there and to help. So I think those are some aspects, again, for us to really to be involved in our, how about, again, that when we do the World Meditation for Peace on December 31st, how about asking other churches, other people to be with us? So it's getting out there and starting to make connections with other people. And as I have said, that this is a real easy connection to make. What I said was about getting involved in your local ministerial association or interfaith group. You will find individuals. What would happen if your center would start sponsoring an interfaith lecture series? That if you were to invite in the imam from the local Muslim center, if you were to invite in the local rabbi, if you were to invite in somebody else from even a church that you even disagreed with, the whole idea of building community. We cannot, if we're going to survive as a movement, we cannot be inside the walls. And see, and that's one of the things about with New Thought Media Network. Even when we were at conference, we were working a conference, myself and Diego Reyes and also Robert Brzezinski. Here we had a table right in front of the stage. And we had a minister from the stage saying, well, we need to get this message out there more. And I'm going, it's right in front of you. We need to practice our own teaching and to understand that there are aspects that we are getting out there. And so that's the one belief that I've been working on with ministers, is that, yes, get involved with other people. If you do, again, social media in your area, what would happen if you spent $20 to $50 a month and you went ahead and you just put up something on social media that just said, we're having a class on conflict resolution. We're having a class on stress reduction. And again, if you want to charge a few dollars, that's okay. But again, to offer it to the community because we have a lot of things that we could offer that the community at large goes ahead and says. The other example is mindfulness. Why aren't you is there maybe a mindfulness class or teacher that we can have? Go ahead. Elzia, you're frozen.
Yeah, no, I didn't. We have to
There you
get
go.
involved. Yeah, my internet is it's kind of cloudy here in Denver, and sometimes these clouds mess with my internet. Um, but yeah, so I'll tell you what we'll do right now. We want to thank some of our sponsors and highlight some of our programs that we have here. And so we're going to take a pause for the calls, as they say here at New Thought Media Network, and we'll be right back.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
Watch me change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. New Thought today. We have Reverend Michael Mangus with here today, the host of the Fireside Chat, as we kind of look at some of the uh, ways as the New Thought community we can become more involved in the community. How do we begin to have more social action and more ways of being integral parts of the community, so that we can begin to build a network of people and activities and alliances where it's about uplifting humanity.
Yes.
And so that's what we need to do. I mean, when we look around now in terms of there are more people that are using food banks, they said, than ever before. There are more
Absolutely.
people that are homeless than ever before. There are more children who are not getting proper educational attention or supplies than ever before. And as opposed to complaining about those things or pointing the fingers about those things, especially as an organization looking to uplift the minds and hearts and souls of the people, how do we get involved, as you said earlier, not to proselytize or to evangelize, but to provide a service as a fellow brother or sister to our compadres on this planet Earth.
And I think that what you're saying, Reverend Z, really points to the fact that it seems that, again, for many years within New Thought, this is an observation, not a criticism, but us and them, that there seems to be, again, that whole idea of separation. And again, the old thought of, well, if they just come to our centers and if they go ahead and they get in our classes and they learn our teaching. Well, okay. And that, how are they going to hear the message if they're hungry? How are they going to hear the message if they're homeless? How are they going to do that? If they're not, if certain needs in the community. Well, and again, I just get furious when people say, well, that's just their consciousness. Okay. Right. And that for someone to go ahead, for us to be love and to extend the hand of love and say, our hand of love is here. And that, and I learned this from, a gentleman I know who works with the homeless here in our community. He says that what he does is he doesn't try to convert them. What he does is he is a friend and he listens. And when they come to him for help, or they say, well, you know what, I'm really sick and tired of being sick and tired here. I really, can you get me into a local, rehab program or a local addiction program? He told me, he says, immediately. He says that you have to act on that. And again, I think that I have a friend of mine who does, he's I'll think of the name here, Seventh-day Adventist. And that what he does, and this is back in Carnegie, what he did was he went ahead and he calls his organization Simple Church. And what they do is, again, that what he does is what he did on the missions field for many years. And that is not try to preach conversion at them, but to go ahead and, again, to build relationships with the individuals. And then from there, if people want to, again, if people want to join, or you can, and again, there are so many things I think that we can do in our communities if we just are open and receptive to going out there and being a part of the community. Is quit thinking of the people outside of your tiny group as, again, us versus them. Is to and to be active. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, and because as they say, the longest journey is from the head to the heart. And so our movement is very heady. And
absolutely.
We need to move more to being more hearty, if you will.
Absolutely.
No pun intended. And one of the most effective ways to do that is just to be present.
Yes.
Is to be present. And that's what I think is missing now. And I know even for myself, we get so busy and tied up with the days going on and trying to state our purpose and affirm our awareness, and all that's great because you need that. But at the end of all that, you have to be present.
Yes.
And you have to move out of the thought process and move into a heart actionary process. Again, treat and move your feet so things can begin to happen. If I just keep running things around in my head, very little is going to happen. And so when we're able to move in that kind of direction, when we're able to inspire people to action. And at the end of every service that I do, I have a call to action.
Absolutely.
Some of it is outward facing, some of it is just inward facing. But the idea is to get people thinking that I can't just listen to the message. I have to do something. Even if it's go for a walk, meditate, write in a journal, invite a friend over for coffee, whatever. Begin these habits so that they become part of your foundational way of living.
And I think, Reverend Z, part of that is that, again, the leadership is a key part of that, is leading your people through saying, this is the reason why we're going out there. That, again, that we are not, if you want to see us grow here, we have to be visible in the community and also, do our work in consciousness. Because, again, we have an extremely wide audience of individuals out there that would really, again, appreciate a place where, they talk about in the evangelical world about a seeker-friendly church. Well, you can go ahead and you can be seeker-friendly with the whole aspect of them sucking you into the system, or you can really be seeker-friendly by inviting again, that when people come to your center, again, is don't judge them, just love them, invite them back, do all the things that we can do. Because, again, love is extremely powerful. And another area is that if you is partnering with other New Thought churches in your area. I know that, again, with the shoe drive, we went ahead and we contacted the local Unity Center, and they were more than happy to empty out their closets. And we were able then we did not send the shoes off to another country. What we did was the minister who came in to run this shoe drive, we gave them out to the community. We gave, again, for job programs, people needing, decent clothing to go on a job interview. We left the nicer shoes there.
Yeah.
If you just start asking the question, how can I serve? How can I serve in the area? How can we serve? And you have enough. First of all, you have enough people. Okay, you have enough people. You have enough people to go ahead and to change and be a part of your community and your neighborhood. So and again, that's the world at this time needs our light.
Yeah.
And so again, and again, it's not just, staying online or being in our safe little churches. It's going out there and, again, being a part of the world.
Right. Well, if you look at spiritual leaders throughout history, just pick one. Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, pick one. They were all out in the public. They were all involved in social change.
Yes.
They were all involved in looking at situations that were not conducive for human growth, and they tried to eradicate it, however that happened. And so, we know everything is not for everybody. So we're not asking someone to do something that they're not skilled at or they're not comfortable with. We are asking you to stretch beyond your comfort zone, but we're not asking you to cook the meal if you don't know how to cook. If you can't make a peanut butter jelly sandwich, now we're not gonna do that. But wherever you are skilled and have some effort is to do that, because that's what real community is. See, I think what's happening, people have begun to associate neighborhoods with communities.
Hmm.
And a neighborhood is just an area, a
Yes.
geographical area where people live. But a community is where people interchange ideas and help one another and support one another and uplift one another. That's the difference between a neighborhood and a community. So people may say, I live in the Heights community, or I live
Yes.
in the lowland community. But they're really living in those neighborhoods because there's no community there, or very little community there, because people don't know their neighbors. People are
Right.
not looking out for their kids or their belongings. And so when we can begin to move away or move beyond, neighborhoods are great. That gives us an opportunity to work together, but we have to take the next step and begin to build community.
And the next steps are not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Just get, again, just get involved. If you see something in the paper or an organization needing some assistance or help, or or you may want to do what, again, my friend does at his inner city church here in Akron. Is, I mean, they got well over 100 kids that many of them don't even attend his church, but they do this wonderful vacation Bible study for the neighborhood, where they not only have games and activities during the week, but they also feed them
Mm-hmm.
too. So we have again, and that's what I'm saying, is that we have an opportunity to show love to individuals. So again, how do we do that? And get involved in your local. A good start, for me, has always been getting involved with the local ministers in your area, starting to attend interfaith things in your area, uh, being being an active voice in your area. If there's something that triggers your spirit to go and be involved in, please go and do that. Again, not everything is yours to do,
Right.
and
Right.
that we all have gifts and abilities to be able to go out there and, again, to say to individuals that we love you. What would happen if this year that your group uh, would go ahead and be involved in the local Pride Parade? What would happen if the next time that they have a Martin Luther King Day next year? What would happen if you as a church would go to it?
Mm-hmm.
What would happen? Again, that's getting us outside of, again, our pristine walls and going, how can we give? And again, that change. My teacher, Dr. Tom Senar, I'm in his class, is a class of wonderful practitioners and ministers from around the country and also Canada. So he talks about the whole idea of 3 centers. There's a head center, there's a heart center, and then the solar plexus or action center. So all 3 need to be in alignment when you go ahead and you do this. So there should be, again, when you align the head with the heart, again, the whole idea of finding something, getting something out there. What is ours to do here our again, in our locality? And
Yeah.
again, there's plenty to do here. We just
Well,
have to, again, just go out there and just put the intention out. And a lot of times when you put the intention out, as we know from New Thought, again, we'll get a phone call or
but
someone will
one thing
say, how
that
can we help?
the one thing that you sparked when you said that to me. I went to an HBCU, Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, Florida, and the emblem for the school is head, heart, hand, and feet,
Yes.
meaning you have to be thoroughly immersed in the activity of living and learning and loving and teaching. It's a whole body experiences, and I think oftentimes people pick parts of it. They're very heavy in the head and nothing else, or they're very heavy in the heart and nothing else. and we know that the universe is built on balance.
Yes.
And so we know sometimes certain parts of the balance take more precedent over others. And so sometimes I may need to be more heady than more heart, or I may need to be more feet than hands, or whatever. But it is this continual cycling through that we must begin to activate if we're going to create a community that, as we say, a world that works for all. And that's not just humans, that's plants and animals and the air and the water. And I mean, because it's all connected. And if we can't begin to cultivate that, that's going to lead us to dire situations. And we know that there's the law of diminishing returns. That at a certain point, that it becomes, just be honest, you cannot reverse the course of the event or the thing. And I don't care how much consciousness you got. Once I drop the rock off the, once I drop the rock off the building, consciousness is not going to take that rock from hitting the ground. It's going to take something else. Somebody's going to have to grab it or move it or something. Consciousness is not going to do that.
And again, that I think it all, Reverend Z, it all starts with the question of what is ours to do? What is ours to do? How can we get involved? How can we go out there and do that? My friend, the late Reverend Dr. Charlotte Manning, who passed a year ago this week. Charlotte used to say again that she said that that's the question you have to ask yourself. Not everyone is called to go out on the street and picket and protest. Now, what she said was this, and she said this to the people around her. She said, I'm 70 plus years old. She says that if you choose to do so, I'll have the bail money ready to go get you. I'll be there to bail you out. And, so again, what is ours to do? And again, this world is really looking for love.
Yeah.
And so we have opportunity to not only to our communities, but again, especially to individuals. They don't, especially within our own centers, they don't. I know that we recently had an individual who got burned out of his apartment. Fire struck the building. We raised, again, our group raised several hundreds of dollars to give him, to help assist him. And so I think that, again, that us not only taking care of one another in community, but also, again, extending that care to around. And again, there's plenty of work to do out there. Again, another idea real quick. Why don't you have a positive thinking class? Huh? You can do that in your community. So,
well, our time is near, and I think, there's no shortage of giving. I mean, we've seen people put up GoFundMe campaigns, and people by and large are donating $5, $1, $20, and they're raising large sums of money for different causes or different individuals as things happen. So we know the compensity and compassion of giving is there, and so we have to figure out how to present ideas and raise the light on certain causes so that it's seen. So tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do a thank you to some of our sponsors, and we're going to come back with last thoughts, and then and we're going to close out for the day. So just hold tight. We're going to give some thank you to our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors and donors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Spiritual Center Kitchener, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, and all of our individual donors and sponsors. Thank you for being a part of the New Thought Media Network. Please come be you.
And we're back. And so as we look to close out here, Reverend Michael, some final thoughts on how we can begin to be more active in our community and to really build and support the establishment of true community.
Right. And so again, going from the New Testament, the story of the Good Samaritan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, again, they do not have to be a part of our center. They do not have to be a part, but we have, again, people needing and wanting love. So again, asking yourself, asking the people in your community, and also for the leaders, the reverends, the practitioners, to lead the change here, to become a more socially active community. And I'm telling you, when I was involved in the school, in the summer lunch program, and seeing these one Sunday or one day, these little kids, who came from a local daycare and again had their lunch, they were giving us all hugs before we left. That was my achievement. So there's, again, that I don't expect that, but it's nice to see again that when you get active out there, that again, that you really do shine a greater light in the world.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly right. And I think my final thoughts to do that is we have to be the change we wish to see in the world. We have to become that. We have to be that. We have to be forefront of what it is that we're hoping to see as a global community that's healthy, whole, and strong. That's what we have to do. And so until next week, this has been New Thought Today, and thank you for joining. Peace and blessings.